What if I told you that massive payments exceeding $4,000 are landing in bank accounts right now, and over $200 billion is expected to flow to Americans in the coming weeks and months? This isn't speculation or rumor. Official sources have confirmed that one of the largest distribution periods in recent history is currently underway, and the money that countless people desperately need is finally starting to move. If you're wondering whether you're eligible, how much you might receive, or when your payment could arrive, stay with me because I'm breaking down everything you need to know right now. Let me be completely transparent from the start. This doesn't reach absolutely everyone, and the amounts will vary dramatically from person to person. In fact, based on statements made a couple of months ago, some individuals could potentially see payments approaching $20,000. Can you even imagine that? A $20,000 deposit suddenly appearing in your account? Now, let me be crystal clear. That level of payment certainly won't apply to everyone. In reality, it'll apply to a very small percentage of people, but there will be varying amounts distributed across the board. And yes, that money is actively flowing right now. For the next couple of months, it will continue hitting bank accounts essentially on a daily basis, well, Monday through Friday at least. Obviously not on weekends, but you understand what I'm saying. So let's talk about what's actually happening here. Who exactly is receiving all this money? Why is such a substantial amount being distributed? And what else are policymakers working on right here, right now? They understand the affordability crisis that's gripping this nation. You've probably heard discussions about this recently, and I'm going to make a prediction. Mark my words on this. 2026 is going to be remembered as the year of affordability. That's going to be the dominant theme, the tagline we hear repeatedly throughout this year. Affordability, affordability, affordability. We're going to hear it constantly because that is the single most pressing issue facing the American population right now. People are struggling. Families are being squeezed from every direction. The cost of everything from groceries to utilities to healthcare continues climbing while wages struggle to keep pace. This is real, it's measurable, and it's impacting millions of households across the country. The frustration level is reaching a boiling point, and lawmakers are finally being forced to acknowledge it and respond to it. So what's driving these substantial payments that are currently being distributed? We're right in the middle of tax filing season. It actually began back on January 26th, which was a Monday. That's when federal tax returns started being accepted for submission. It takes a little while for the system to process everything, but that money is beginning to flow, and some people are already seeing deposits hitting their accounts. Here's the important thing to understand. The bulk of this money hasn't even been sent out yet. What we're seeing now is just the initial wave starting to trickle in. There's going to be significantly more coming. Much, much more. Based on remarks from Treasury officials, they're anticipating upwards of $200 billion being distributed over approximately the next couple of months, which is genuinely exciting news. That represents a tremendous amount of money for an enormous number of people. Essentially, from January 26th through tax day on April 15th, everyone's favorite day of the year, right? Well, maybe not for most people. Unless you're receiving one of these huge refunds, then perhaps it's actually a pretty good day. But for most people, it's probably more like, no thanks, not looking forward to that particular day. During this period of roughly 2.5 months, maybe slightly more, people are filing their federal tax returns for the previous year, and state tax returns if they happen to live in a state that requires them. All of this money is circulating through the system. According to statements we've heard repeatedly from multiple officials and administration representatives, this year is projected to be the biggest refund year in the history of this country. The average refund is expected to exceed $4,000 flowing to the typical taxpayer. Obviously, the actual amounts will vary tremendously. Some people will receive nothing, some will actually owe money, potentially quite a bit. Some will get $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and apparently some will receive up to $20,000, as was mentioned. By the way, I'd genuinely like to know who those people are who are getting $20,000 refunds. I can speculate about the circumstances that would create that situation, but it's going to represent an incredibly small percentage of the population. But apparently, that's what some individuals will be experiencing. Looking forward throughout the remainder of the year, there's another important factor at play: Because of the significant tax legislation that was signed into law several months back, many people didn't have their withholdings adjusted at that time. But now that we've entered the new year, people are adjusting, or will be adjusting, their withholdings. As a result, throughout the course of this year, because of the changes within that massive legislation, people are going to withhold less money from their paychecks. This means more money flowing into their bank accounts every single month because of higher take-home pay, in addition to these substantial refund payments. They're projecting a tremendous amount of money entering the economy through these mechanisms. At the same time, I want to mention something else that's currently in progress. Lawmakers were recently discussing their work on another major legislative package. This is another significant single-party initiative. Since one party currently has control of the executive branch and both chambers of the legislative branch, they have the ability to use a special process where they can advance virtually any legislation. Now, there are some restrictions and some things they legally cannot include, but essentially they can accomplish almost anything they want with a simple majority vote in both chambers, then send it to the executive for signature and turn it into law, similar to what happened last summer. They're actively working on this right now, and they've indicated they need to have meaningful progress on this legislation before the end of this month, with a time frame for final passage sometime between late spring and early summer. Let's see if they can actually accomplish it, because I've said this before many times. Their timing is critically important right now. Americans are getting frustrated. Americans are getting annoyed. Americans are feeling financially hammered. We're being squeezed from all directions. People are becoming disgruntled, and many are genuinely angry. If you're feeling angry, if you're getting frustrated, if you're upset with the current situation, you're definitely not alone. This affordability crisis that everybody's experiencing is real and measurable. Prices keep rising despite what we're told. We keep hearing that prices are going down, that we should just trust the data. Yeah, just trust the numbers. Look at the statistics they provide. The problem is, many people question whether those numbers accurately reflect their lived experience. The data gets presented in certain ways, and we're told to just believe it. Yeah, we're really going to accept all their statistics and projections without question. That's certainly a smart approach, right? Obviously not. The point is that enormous numbers of people are becoming extremely frustrated with this entire situation, and as a result, action needs to happen quickly because people are losing their patience. If that describes how you're feeling, you're far from alone. I've seen this sentiment expressed repeatedly, and I believe a large portion of the population feels exactly this way. Obviously not every single person, but it's definitely the prevailing sentiment across a broad spectrum right now. I wanted to point all of this out for you. Money will continue flowing as these refund payments continue being distributed to people across the country as they submit their tax returns and receive that money through direct deposit payments straight into their bank accounts. It's important to note that paper checks are no longer being distributed. That method has been discontinued. Everything is now being handled electronically through direct deposit. No more paper checks going out. That's simply not how it works anymore. I wanted to lay all of this out clearly for you, and I'll continue keeping you updated with everything that develops. It's an incredibly dynamic time right now. We're only a handful of weeks into the year at this point. Sure, we're more than a month in, but we're still in the very early stages of this year. It's already been a remarkable year, and I can say with confidence that there's going to be substantially more coming. Significant developments are on the horizon, and things are moving quickly. I'm here to keep you informed and help you navigate all of this. The landscape is constantly shifting, policies are being debated and implemented, money is moving through the system, and people's financial situations are being impacted in real time. Whether you're expecting a refund, trying to understand the changing tax landscape, or simply trying to make sense of the broader economic picture, staying informed is crucial. Understanding what's happening, when it's happening, and how it might affect you personally, allows you to make better decisions and plan more effectively. These payments represent real money that can make a genuine difference in people's lives. For some, it might mean catching up on bills that have been piling up. For others, it could provide a much-needed cushion in savings. Some might use it to address deferred maintenance on their home or vehicle. Others might invest it for future needs. Whatever your situation, understanding the timeline and amounts can help you plan accordingly. The broader theme here, extends beyond just these particular payments. We're looking at a year where affordability, economic security, and financial stability are going to dominate the national conversation. The pressures people are feeling are real, the frustrations are justified, and the responses from policymakers will shape not just this year, but potentially years to come. How effectively these challenges are addressed will have lasting implications for millions of families. So stay tuned, stay informed, and stay engaged. The coming weeks and months are going to bring additional developments, more announcements, and continued evolution of these policies and programs. I'll be here throughout it all, breaking down what matters, cutting through the noise, and helping you understand exactly what's happening and what it means for you. Things are moving fast, the stakes are high, and the impacts are real. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next update.